Hi there. In this video, we're just going to have a look at how to add Google Tag Manager to our WordPress website. Here we are in a WordPress website. This is a live site. This is our current site. And we'll walk through this. Some things we have installed, some things we don't. But you should be able to get a pretty good idea of how to do this from this video. If you want to read through the tutorial as well in what we go through here, you can read through. We've got it described in the blog post below as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a plugin, a simple plugin to our website called header, footer, and post injections. So we'll go to our WordPress website and we'll add a new plugin, just like we would any other one. And we'll just search for header, footer, header and footers. And there's a number that you can use here. We use, like I said, header, footer, post injections. Insert header and footers works as well. But we use this particular one. As you can see, it's active on our website. If it's not active for you or if you don't have it installed, you can install it and activate it just like you would any other WordPress plugin. Like I said, there's a number that you can use. That's one that we quite like, but there are others that you can use, and the process is very similar to what we go through in this video and in this tutorial. So once that's installed and activated, the next thing we're going to do is head over to Google Tag Manager and create an account, create a workspace to add the code, to generate the code that we want to add to our website. To give you an idea of what Google Tag Manager allows you to do and some advantages of it, if you've got a number of analytics scripts running on your website or a number of marketing scripts, things like Facebook remarketing, Facebook pixels, Google Analytics tracking, Hotjar tracking if you're doing visitor recordings, things like that, putting that all on your website can get a little clunky. And if you have marketers working on your website versus developers, every time marketers want to make a change, the developers have to get involved because you don't really want marketers in the back end of the website. By having Google Tag Manager installed by the developers or by you in this case, you don't have to worry about giving access permissions to the entire website. You can just give access permissions to Google Tag Manager, and the marketers can kind of do what they want in terms of analytics and tracking scripts without interfering with the actual website code and risking breaking it. So one, it's a really good way to manage multiple pieces of code, kind of what code is on there and where it fires, which pages it fires on. And you also have kind of the restriction levels in place where you don't have marketers having access that you don't want them to have access to. So now that we know what Google Tag Manager is, we'll just pop over. I already have it opened here, but if you can just type in Google Tag Manager, and we'll just go to tagmanager.google.com. You'll get there either way. And this will bring it up. If you don't already have if you're not already signed into a Google account, it'll ask you to sign in. So sign in with your preferred Google account. And here we can see we've got this demo account set up. But what we'll do is we'll go through creating a new account so you can see what that looks like from scratch. So we'll click Create Account. I'll call it my website name. Say it's in the US. The container name is going to be staydigital.com.au, and it's just a web container. And we'll create it. Got to accept the terms. And once we accept the terms, we'll see two pieces of code. We'll see one piece of code that we want to paste into the head, as high in the head section as possible, and another piece of code that goes into the body section. So we'll just copy this first piece. We'll head back over to our WordPress site. And now that we've installed and activated the plugin that we wanted installed, we'll go to Settings, and we'll see Header and Footer. And this will be very similar depending on the plugin that you put in, but it'll be a very similar process. So you'll see a few sections on this in the settings for this plugin. We're really only going to worry about two sections for this tutorial. We see the head section, so head page section injection, and after the body tag. So the first piece of code that we want to put in goes into this head page section injection on every page. And we'll go back to Google Tag Manager, copy the body tag piece, and after the body tag. And that's all we have to do in this plugin. We'll save that. And now our Google Tag Manager script it's saved on our website and it's active, but we haven't published anything to the Google Tag Manager container. We don't have any tags or triggers firing on this container. So what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll add a really basic Google Analytics tracking or universal analytics tracking, which will really be the first piece of code that you'll want to add to your website once you have Google Tag Manager installed. Google Analytics is kind of the benchmark of analytics tracking. It's going to be the first piece of analytics tracking that you'll probably have on every website you create. So we'll just go through that one. Obviously, you can kind of extend what you create, but analytics is a good place to start. So we'll just click on Add a New Tag. And we'll call it Google Analytics or something similar. And in our tag configuration, we'll want to select Universal Analytics. And we're going to track page views. You can track other things like events, transactions, things like that. But the basic piece is just page view. And we'll want to define our Google Analytics setting. So to get this, we'll want to head over to Google Analytics. And sign into your Google account that you have your analytics code created on already. If you don't already have one, you can just create a Google Analytics account. It's pretty straightforward. I'll just hop into an account that I already have set up for Google Analytics. So once you're in Google Analytics and you're on the right account and view, you want to go down to Admin. Select Tracking Info underneath the property and Tracking Code. And this will give you your Google Analytics Tracking ID, which we'll bring back to Google Tag Manager. We'll just copy this tracking ID and go back to Tag Manager. And we're going to want to set up underneath Google Analytics settings a new variable. And we'll call it something like GA tracking ID, and paste the tracking ID into the tracking ID field, and leave everything else as it is. We'll save that variable. And now underneath the tag in triggering, we're just going to click on the triggering section, and all pages is set up as a default trigger. And we'll select all pages because we want this analytics, this Google Analytics Universal Analytics tracking to fire on every page of our website. We'll then save this tag, submit our changes, and publish our workspace. And continue. So now that we've published our workspace and we're back in our workspace section, we can preview what this looks like on our website. So we can click Preview. And this is just to make sure that the tag is firing correctly and our Google Analytics tag is firing correctly, and that the Google Tag Manager script is installed on the site, right? So we can see that it's in preview mode, so we can just navigate to our website. And this will open up a special tab within our browser for Google Tag Manager. You can see I'm logged into the back end of my website, but that's okay. We'll see a Google Tag Manager section pop up down here. And we can see that if this window is available, it means your script is installed correctly. And we can see that there's been a tag fired and the analytics tag fired one time. So that's exactly what we want to see when we install Google Tag Manager and our analytics, Google Analytics tag, is this analytics tag firing one time on every page. So if we go to another page, it'll open up that little Tag Manager section again. and we'll see that the Google Analytics tag was fired again. So this means everything is working correctly and we've installed it right. So what we'll do is we'll just go back and we can leave preview mode and everything's good to go. So there you go. That's how you install Google Tag Manager on your WordPress website. From here, you can do lots of other things with Google Tag Manager without having to worry about touching that code that we installed in the Insert Headers and Footers plugin. So to make it easy for you to add code and turn it on and turn it off whenever you want via Google Tag Manager. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that helped, and take care.